Risk of corruption charges for Wen-je increases in living mall case. Typhoon Krathon intensifies, Taiwan braces for impact. Kaohsiung Councilor Huang Shao-ting detained after returning from China. Japan's next prime minister keen to boost the military. Israeli military says it killed another high-ranking Hezbollah official. Japan bids farewell to Panda pair before their return to China. Death toll in Nepal flooding and landslides reaches at least 100. Pesto the Chonky baby penguin becomes an internet sensation.
Hello, I'm Helen. Thank you for joining us from Funday News. It is Monday, September 30th, and here are your top stories. In local news, following the detention of former Wen-je's campaign finance chief Li Wen-je and former Taipei Conscription Bureau head Zhu Yahu, lawyer Huang suggests Ke faces rising risks of being implicated in bribery and profiteering. Huang pointed out that if proven guilty under the Anti-Corruption Act, Ke could face a life sentence. The investigation has intensified, with Taipei prosecutor questioning Ke 4 times and widening their probe into other key figures. Typhoon Krathon continues to strengthen as land and sea warnings are issued across Taiwan. The storm's outer bands are expected to affect southern and eastern Taiwan tonight, with its full impact hitting the island by Wednesday, bringing strong winds and heavy rains. Kaohsiung Councilor Huang Shaoting, suspected of inflating assistance fees, returned from Xiamen, China today and was detained at Kaohsiung Shaogang Airport. The investigation alleges corruption with the amount potentially exceeding 1 million NT dollars. And in global news, Shigeru Ishiba is set to become Japan's next prime minister after the governing Liberal Democratic Party elected him as its new leader on Friday. As the U.S. ally takes on a growing role in countering China's influence in the region, Ishiba, a straight-talking former defense minister, will take office on Tuesday when Prime Minister Fumio Kishida and his cabinet minister resign, and Ishiba is elected as his successor by members of the LDP-controlled parliament. Ishiba will face public discontent over rising prices as well as difficult demographic and labor challenges in a country with a shrinking and rapidly aging population.
He is also contending with a complicated security environment in the Asia-Pacific region, where the U.S. has been strengthening ties with Japan and other allies in an effort to counter China's growing influence. Japan also faces a volatile neighbor in North Korea, which has been accelerating its missile launches. At a news conference on Friday, Ishiba said there was a mountain of issues related to national security. The LDP is seeking to regain public trust with a fresh face ahead of a general election that must be held by October next year. The leadership transition was set in motion last month when Kishida announced his resignation following a series of corruption scandals that plunged his party's approval ratings to record lows.
The Israeli military said Sunday it killed Nabil Kauk, another high-ranking Hezbollah official, a day after the Lebanese militant group confirmed the deaths of multiple commanders, including longtime leader Hassan Nasrallah. This announcement came just hours after the Israeli airstrike in northeast Lebanon killed 11 people. Israel says it is conducting attacks on Hezbollah targets in Lebanon. Meanwhile, the number of people displaced by the conflict from southern Lebanon has more than doubled, now exceeding 211,000.
Hezbollah and Israel have traded near daily strikes since the Israel-Hamas war began. The World Food Programme says it has launched an emergency operation to provide food to up to 1 million people displaced by the violence in Lebanon. The UN agency said Sunday it is distributing ready-to-eat food rations, bread, hot meals, and food parcels to families in shelters across the country. The agency says it needs $105 million to continue its work until the end of the year and has urged the international community to support the humanitarian response. Lebanese Environment Minister Nasser Yassin estimated that about 250,000 people are in shelters, while 4 times as many may be displaced outside of them.
thousands of Japanese fans bid a tearful farewell to their beloved panda couple, who made their final public appearance at Tokyo's Ueno Zoo on Saturday before returning to China for medical treatment. The pair Riri and Xinxin are the parents of Xiangxiang, the park-born idol who returned home last year. More than 2,000 visitors, many wear a t-shirt and carrying panda-themed items, queued outside the zoo hours before it opened. Some said they camped out overnight to secure their chance.
The pandas, both 19 years old, arrived at Ueno Zoo in 2011. According to the zoo, although their lease is valid through 2026, Japan and China agreed to their return as the aging couple needs treatment for high blood pressure. China sends pandas abroad as a sign of goodwill but retains ownership of the animals and any cubs they produce. The animals are native to southwestern China and serve as an unofficial national mascot. Pandas, which reproduce rarely in the wild and rely on a diet of bamboo, remain among the world's most threatened species. An estimated 1,800 pandas live in the wild, while another 500 are in zoos or reserves, mostly in Sichuan.
The death toll from flooding and landslide in Nepal has reached at least 100, with dozens still missing. Police warned on Sunday morning that the toll was expected to rise further as reports came in from villages across the mountainous country. The weather in Nepal improved on Sunday, allowing rescue, recovery, and cleanup efforts to proceed. Rescue workers recovered 14 bodies overnight from 2 buses headed to Kathmandu that were buried in a landslide on the highway near the capital. At least one other bus and several vehicles remained buried at the site, and rescue workers were digging through rocks and mud in search of survivors.
Kathmandu remained cut off on Sunday as the main highways out of the city were blocked by landslides. Residents in the southern part of Kathmandu, which had been inundated, were cleaning up their homes as water levels receded. Police officers and soldiers assisted with rescue efforts, while heavy equipment was used to clear landslides from the roads. The government announced the closure of schools and colleges across Nepal for the next 3 days. The heavy rains, which started on Friday, slowed on Saturday night but were expected to continue through the weekend. The monsoon season began in June and usually ends by mid-September.
Pesto, the huge king penguin chick, has drawn hundreds of visitors to an Australian aquarium, and now the bird can count Katy Perry as one of his biggest fans. The US pop star in Melbourne to perform at the Australian Football League Grand Final on Saturday said she wanted to kiss Pesto during her trip. Chocolate brown and fluffy, Pesto is a 9-month-old king penguin weighing 52 pounds, more than twice the combined weight of his parents. He's also the largest chick Sea Life Melbourne has ever seen, which has earned him a global fan base.
Most of Pesto's weight comes from the brown fuzz that keeps penguin chicks warm through winter. They later lose weight as they develop adult feathers. Like all king penguins, Pesto is non-sexually dimorphic, meaning he does not have externally visible traits that distinguish him from female penguins. A gender reveal event earlier this month went viral on social media, while many of his videos on TikTok have garnered more than 1 million likes. Pesto is a male and has brought great excitement to the team because the last king penguins that hatched were all female. Pesto's parents, Tango and Hudson, care for him along with the keepers, who feed him 25 fish a day.
The answer for last Friday was C, contentious. The proposal for the new tax law has sparked a lot of contentious debate among lawmakers. Did you answer correctly? Now let's delve into the news of Pesto, the chunky baby penguin becomes an internet sensation. Number 1, externally, 外部的. The building looks small externally, but it has a spacious interior. Number 2, visible, 可见的,看得见的. The mountain was visible from a great distance. Number 3, garner, 收集获得累积. The politician managed to garner significant support from young voters. Next, we have a multiple choice question for everyone to practice. Which answer would you choose? You can write your answer in the comment section. The correct answer will be announced tomorrow. And that's all for today's Funday news. Be sure to tune into Funday news from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join Funday for free. I'm Helen, your host. I'll see you next time.